These African islands are still under colonial rule in 2022. Although the world is changing every day and it is the 21st century, it is unfortunate to still see remnants of colonialism today. Africa is one of the most beautiful continents on Earth. It is rich in natural resources, and this is one of the reasons why its former colonizers cannot let go of the grip it has on Africa. Colonialism has been rooted and keeps growing in Africa rather than ending. Indeed, there is no more slavery, but there are Africans who work for days to fill the pockets of countries like Britain and France. There are plenty of islands in the world that are still under colonial rule. Although most of these island nations gained their independence after World War II, there are still many that have remained under the control of a European country or another non-native government. These African islands continue to be governed by European powers so that they can continue to exploit their natural resources and keep them away from their citizens. Many island nations and territories remain under colonial rule due to their small population and remote location. As we get into the video, if you are new to the channel or have not yet subscribed, please do so and leave us a like. Let's take a look at these 5 African islands that are still under colonial rule in 2022. 1. St. Helena. St. Helena was a colony of the United Kingdom from 1663 to 1962. The island was first exploited as a source of raftwood wood, which was used to make rope. In later years, the island was used as a place for prisoners of war and those suffering from mental disorders. The British government gained custody of St. Helena in 1814 and only conceded control over the island to the French in 1835. Since 2002, the island has been under the joint control of the United Kingdom and the French government. St. Helena is located in the South Atlantic Ocean and has a total area of around 164 square kilometers. The climate of St. Helena is tropical and very humid due to the high precipitation levels. The island also experiences a high level of humidity as well as heavy rainfall throughout the year. For about 4 centuries, the island was an important stopover for ships from Europe to Asia and back while sailing around the African continent until the opening of the Suez Canal. St. Helena is the United Kingdom's second oldest overseas territory. St. Helena is known for being the site of Napoleon's second exile, following his final defeat in 1815. 2. Mayotte. Mayotte is an island in the Indian Ocean that is still under colonial rule. It is an overseas department and region and a single territorial collectivity of France. The island was transferred to the authority of the French Union after a referendum that was held in 1974. The referendum was held in order to determine the future of the island after a dispute between France and Madagascar. Madagascar wanted to gain control of the island, but the residents of Mayotte opposed this move. The residents of the island were very much in favor of remaining under French rule. The residents of Mayotte were primarily the descendants of the Malagasy migrants who were living on the island before the French took over. They were mainly animists and Roman Catholics. Mayotte is an important base for France's military operations in the Indian Ocean. The island's strategic location has made it an important French control. The native languages of Mayotte are Shimauri, which is the most spoken, and the lesser spoken Kibushi, a Malagasy language, but French is the official language and is spoken as a second language by an increasing part of the population, with 63% of the population 14 years and older reporting in the 2007 census that they could speak it. 3. Réunion. Uninhabited when first visited by Portuguese navigators in the early 1500s, Réunion was settled in the mid-1600s, when the French East India Company established a layover station for ships rounding the Cape of Good Hope en route to India. Enslaved Africans were imported to work in first coffee and then sugar plantations. The island of the Union of South Africa was originally under British colonial rule until 1910. In 1961, the apartheid regime of South Africa gained control of the island. It was not until the end of the apartheid rule in 1994 that the island was returned to the control of the Union of South Africa. The Union of South Africa agreed to allow Namibia to hold a meeting on the island. The island was later renamed Walvis Bay after the signing of the Walvis-Bukto Convention. Namibia is an arid and semi-desert coastal plain that is located in southern Africa. Walvis Bay is located in Namibia's southern part and is one of the country's most important ports. The country's economy is largely dependent on international trade. 4. Ascension Island. Ascension Island is a British territory located in the southern Atlantic Ocean. Before 1966, the island was under the colonial rule of Portugal. The island was later handed over to the control of the British government in return for the payment of a sum of £300,000. The residents of Ascension Island were mainly the descendants of the Portuguese migrants who had settled on the island before it was taken over by the British. The island was later annexed by the United Kingdom under the terms of the London Fisheries Convention of the year 1921. Ascension Island is an important base for British military operations in the southern Atlantic Ocean. The island is under the control of the British government and has a population of around 2,038 people. The territory is presided over by a governor who is resident in St. Helena and appointed by the King of the United Kingdom. The governor is represented in Ascension by the administrator. The climate of the island is very temperate, and the island is well suited for the cultivation of sugarcane. 5. Tristan da Cunha. Tristan da Cunha is a British overseas territory, one of the remaining former colonies which have not yet asked for independence and wish specifically to retain their link with the United Kingdom. For Tristan, the link dates back to 1816, when the island was garrisoned by Britain. Tristan da Cunha is located in the southern Atlantic Ocean. The island was originally under the colonial rule of Denmark and was later handed over to the control of the British government. The island is one of the most remote inhabited places on Earth. The population of the island is only around 1,126 people and is represented by a single member of the House of Representatives. The rest of the country's representatives are appointed by the British government. The island has a long history of being a maritime outpost. The first recorded sighting of the island was in the year 1556 by the Portuguese explorer who christened the island Ilha de Paragusa. The island is a very inhospitable place due to the high salinity of the soil. Conclusion: many African islands were a part of the European colonization of Africa. These islands are still under the colonial rule of Europe and are known as post-colonial dependencies. The 5 African islands we discussed in this video are among the most remote and least populated islands in the world. All of them were colonies of European countries before they became colonies of their own. The residents of these islands are very much aware of their remote location, and there is little hope for them to gain independence in the near future. As per UN data, there are around 17 non-self-governing territories around the world, where less than 2 million people still live under colonial rule. As of now, a special committee formed by the World Body continues to monitor the situation in the 17 territories. It is working to facilitate their advance towards complete self-determination. There you have it, viewers. That brings us to the end of the video. We hope you found the video interesting and informative enough to give us a thumbs up, click on the subscription button, and turn on the notification icon to be notified when next we upload more important and interesting content in regard to the African continent. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.